Silent Guardians. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the helm of the Artemis, her fingers hovering over the holographic display as she studied the debris field before them. The remnants of Outpost Sigma drifted silently in space, each piece telling a story of destruction that made her stomach turn. This was the fourth human settlement destroyed in the past month, and like the others, there were no survivors. "Analysis complete, Commander," Lieutenant Park announced, his voice tight with tension. "The quantum signature matches the previous attacks. It's them, the Axeri." Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, letting the weight of confirmation settle over her. The Axeri Dominion, humanity's benevolent observers, as they called themselves, had finally shown their true colors. Their technological superiority had kept humanity in check for decades, but this was different. "Show me the weapon signature," she ordered, and a complex pattern of energy waves materialized in the air before her. The Artemis's advanced sensors had captured something new this time. A glimpse of the weapon that had reduced a thriving outpost of 15,000 souls to scattered atoms. Dr. Emily Rivera, the ship's quantum physicist, leaned forward from her station, her dark eyes widening. "This shouldn't be possible," she whispered, fingers dancing through the holographic data. "They're not just destroying matter, they're unwriting it from reality itself. The quantum harmonics here suggest they've developed a way to." A sudden alert cut through the air, and Tactical Officer James Morrison's voice carried across the bridge. "Commander, multiple ships dropping out of quantum space. Axeri signatures." 3 sleek vessels materialized nearby, their crystalline hulls catching the light of a distant sun. The Axeri ships were works of art, organic curves melded with geometric precision, the product of a civilization thousands of years ahead of humanity. They were beautiful, and they were deadly. "This is Overseer Kellix of the Axeri Dominion," a smooth voice echoed through the bridge's communication system. "Human vessel, you are intruding upon a sanctioned cleansing operation. Withdraw immediately." Sarah felt her crew's eyes on her. The Artemis was a formidable ship by human standards, but against 3 Axeri vessels, it would be suicide to engage. Yet she couldn't shake the image of Outpost Sigma's destruction from her mind. "Overseer Kellix," she responded, keeping her voice steady. "This is Commander Chen of the Human Coalition vessel Artemis. We're investigating the destruction of a human settlement. Perhaps you could explain why the Dominion is conducting cleansing operations in Coalition space." A pause, then. "Your species continues to expand beyond its designated parameters, Commander. The Dominion's directive is clear. Primitive species must be contained until they demonstrate sufficient evolution. Your recent attempts to develop quantum technology have proven you are not ready for such advancement." Sarah's hand clenched into a fist. "And this gives you the right to murder 15,000 civilians. Murder implies equality, Commander. We simply maintain order, as we have done for millennia. Now withdraw, or we will be forced to demonstrate our authority." The tactical display showed the Axeri ships moving into an attack formation. They were toying with her, Sarah realized. The Artemis could have been destroyed the moment they arrived, but the Axeri wanted to demonstrate their power, their absolute control. "All hands to battle stations," Sarah ordered, ignoring the look of shock on her bridge crew's faces. "Lieutenant Park, begin quantum core spooling. Morrison, ready all defensive systems." "Commander," Morrison protested, "our shields won't last 10 seconds against their weapons. Then we'll make those 10 seconds count." Sarah opened a ship-wide channel. "All hands, this is the Commander. The Axeri have been systematically destroying human outposts, killing our people. They believe we're primitive, that we'll bow to their superior technology and retreat in fear. They're wrong." She paused, watching as the Axeri ships drew closer. "Humanity didn't reach the stars by backing down from bullies. We didn't survive war, famine, and disaster by accepting our limitations. The Axeri think they know everything about us, but they've forgotten the most important lesson of history. Never underestimate a species that evolved as prey, but learned to become the apex predator. The Artemis quantum core hummed to life, power flowing through the ship. The Axari vessels launched their first warning shot, a beam of energy that passed just meters from their hull, a demonstration of precision and power. "Dr. Rivera," Sarah called out, "what's the status of Project Echo?" Emily's head snapped up. "Commander, it's experimental. We don't even know if it will work." Now would be an excellent time to find out. As Emily rushed to implement the untested system, Sarah received an urgent transmission from Earth Command. Her blood ran cold as she read the message. New Eden, humanity's largest colony world, was the Axari's next target. Over 5 million lives hung in the balance. The Artemis wasn't just fighting for survival now. They were in a race against time. Whatever the Axari had planned for New Eden, Sarah knew this skirmish was just the beginning. Humanity would either prove itself worthy of the stars, or they would perish in the attempt. And as the first real shots of battle streaked across space, Commander Sarah Chen made a silent promise to every soul lost at Outpost Sigma. The Axari were about to learn exactly how dangerous a primitive species could be. The Hidden Edge. Deep beneath the red sands of Mars, Dr. Marcus Wong stood before a wall of quantum displays, his weathered face illuminated by streams of data. The Legacy Protocol facility was humanity's best-kept secret, a research center that officially didn't exist, working on technology that shouldn't be possible. They've engaged the Axari near Outpost Sigma. His colleague, Dr. Diana Foster, reported. Her fingers moved through the holographic interface, bringing up live feeds from the Artemis. "Commander Chen is buying us time, but she's going to get her crew killed unless we act," Marcus finished. He placed his hand on the biometric scanner, unlocking the facility's most secure systems. "Signal the Coalition Council. It's time." Diana's eyes widened. "Marcus, the protocol isn't ready. The neural interface alone cold. 5 million people on New Eden," he cut in. "That's what's at stake. The Axari are done playing games, Diana. They're going to wipe out our largest colony to prove a point." The massive quantum processors that lined the walls hummed with energy as Marcus began the activation sequence. The Legacy Protocol had started as a desperate gamble, an attempt to bridge the gap between human consciousness and quantum reality. The Axari's technology was superior in every way, except for one crucial detail they'd overlooked: the human mind's capacity for quantum entanglement. "Coalition Council is responding," Diana announced. They're giving us authorization. Full implementation of the protocol is approved." Marcus allowed himself a grim smile. "Send the coordinates to the Artemis. Tell them to hold position and prepare for emergency quantum translation." In orbit around Mars, a dozen satellites activated simultaneously, their specialized arrays focusing on a single point in space. The quantum processors beneath the surface reached full power, and Marcus felt the familiar pressure in his mind as the neural interface activated. Neural link established. The facility's AI announced. Quantum field stabilizing. Warning: significant risk of neural feedback detected. Marcus ignored the warning. They discovered it by accident, the way human consciousness could interact with quantum fields in ways that artificial systems couldn't replicate. The Axari's technology was built on pure logic, pure mathematics. But human minds dreamed. They intuited. They made impossible leaps of understanding that defied conventional physics. "Begin protocol implementation," he ordered. "Target: U.S. Artemis." The quantum field expanded, enveloping the space around the Artemis in a cocoon of impossible mathematics. Commander Chen's voice crackled through the comm system. "What's happening?" "Our sensors error." "Commander," Marcus transmitted, "this is Dr. Wong from Project Legacy. Your ship is about to receive an upgrade. The neural interface may be disorienting at first." The Artemis shimmered as layers of quantum technology merged with its conventional systems, But the real change was happening inside the minds of its crew. The legacy protocol wasn't just an advancement in technology. It was an evolution in human consciousness. Neural interface complete, Diana reported. Commander Chen, your tactical systems are now linked directly to your crew's cognitive processes. The ship will respond to your thoughts, your intuitions, faster than any computer could calculate. Through the facility's monitors, they watched as the Artemis began to move in ways that should have been impossible. The ship wasn't just avoiding HFY weapons fire. It was responding to attacks before they were launched. The crew's collective consciousness processing quantum possibilities faster than light itself. This is incredible. Chen's voice was filled with wonder. We can see the quantum field. The ship. It's like it's part of us now. But Marcus noticed the strain in her voice. The human mind wasn't meant to process reality on a quantum level. The protocol was pushing their consciousness to its limits, and they had no idea what the long-term effects might be. Commander, he transmitted, you have a clear path to New Eden. The protocol will give you capabilities the HFY have never seen, but there's a cost. The neural interface is untested at this scale. You need to. Warning alerts suddenly filled the command center. Diana's face went pale as she read the incoming data. Marcus, the quantum field is destabilizing. The crew's neural patterns are becoming erratic. On their screens, the Artemis's movements became more aggressive, more unpredictable. The ship wasn't just responding to the crew's conscious commands anymore. It was tapping into their subconscious, their instincts, their primal fears and determination. What have we done? Diana whispered. Marcus watched as the Artemis prepared to jump to quantum space, its hull now pulsing with energy patterns that even their sensors couldn't fully comprehend. We've given humanity a fighting chance, he answered. And maybe, just maybe, we've discovered something the HFY never could. The true potential of the human mind. As the Artemis vanished into quantum space, Marcus could only hope that the price of this discovery wouldn't be too high. The legacy protocol was now active, evolving, adapting along with the consciousness of its users. The HFY had wanted to contain humanity's development, to keep them safely primitive. Instead, they had forced humanity to make an evolutionary leap that would change the galaxy forever. Breaking point. The quantum jump to New Eden should have taken days. The Artemis made it in hours, its enhanced systems tearing through spacetime in ways that left the ship's conventional sensors struggling to keep up. But for Commander Sarah Chen, time had become a fluid concept, measured now in pulses of quantum probability and neural feedback. Multiple HFY signatures detected, Morrison reported, his voice distant despite being mere feet away. The legacy protocol had changed how they perceived reality. The bridge crew's consciousness now flowed together through the ship's systems, making traditional communication almost redundant. They're already engaging the colony's defenses. Sarah didn't need the tactical display to see it. Through the protocol, she could feel the quantum distortions of HFY weapons fire, could sense the terror of the colonists below. New Eden's orbital platforms were falling one by one, their conventional shields useless against the Dominion's advanced technology. How many ships? She asked, though she already knew the answer. The knowledge floated in their shared consciousness like debris in a digital stream. 15 capital ships, Emily answered, her quantum calculations merging with the ship's sensors. They're using a new configuration of their reality erasure weapon. The quantum harmonics they're beautiful in a terrifying way. Sarah felt blood trickle from her nose, a physical reminder of the toll the protocol was taking. The neural interface allowed them to process quantum information intuitively, but human brains weren't designed for this level of perception. Reality itself seemed to shimmer at the edges of her vision. Launch interference pattern alpha, she ordered, and the Artemis responded instantly to her thought. The ship's enhanced systems generated a quantum field that rippled through space, disrupting the precise calculations the HFY weapons required. The effect was immediate. 2 Axari ships lost containment on their reality erasure beams, the energy dispersing harmlessly into space. The others turned to face this new threat, their crystalline hulls gleaming with charged particles. "Coalition vessel," a familiar voice transmitted. "Your quantum signature has changed. Explain your transformation." "Overseer Kellix," Sarah responded, tasting copper as more blood dripped from her nose. "Humanity is full of surprises. Would you like a demonstration?" The Artemis moved with impossible grace, its systems guided by the collective intuition of its crew. Sarah felt Morrison's tactical expertise flowing through her consciousness, merged with Emily's understanding of quantum mechanics and Lieutenant Park's spatial awareness. They were no longer individuals but a gestalt entity. Human consciousness expanded beyond its natural limits. "Impossible," Kellix declared as the Artemis evaded a concentrated barrage that should have atomized the ship. "Your species lacks the evolutionary development for such coordination. This is a violation of natural order." Sarah laughed, the sound echoing strangely through the quantum field. "Natural order? You've been containing species for millennia, playing at being gods, but you forgot something crucial about evolution, Overseer. The most significant leaps don't happen during times of peace and stability. They happen under pressure, when survival demands adaptation." The Artemis's enhanced weapons lashed out, not the crude energy beams of traditional human ships, but focused streams of quantum possibility. Where they struck, Axari shields fluctuated and failed, their perfect mathematical harmonies disrupted by the chaotic intuition of human consciousness. But victory came with a price. Sarah felt the strain in her crew's minds, saw the blood running from their noses and ears. The protocol wasn't just pushing them to their limits, it was forcing them to evolve in real time, their brains restructuring themselves to handle the quantum interface. "Commander," Emily's thoughts carried alarm. "The neural feedback is reaching critical levels. Our consciousness, it's starting to merge with the quantum field itself. I don't think we can separate from it anymore." Sarah felt it too. The boundaries between self and ship, between individual and collective, were breaking down. Through the protocol, she could sense similar transformations happening in her crew. They were becoming something new, something that existed in the space between conventional reality and quantum possibility. "Axari fleet is regrouping," Morrison reported, his consciousness pulsing with tactical analyses. "They're adapting to our interference patterns, preparing to launch their primary weapon." The massive Axari flagship opened like a blooming crystal, revealing a weapon core that distorted the very fabric of space around it. Sarah felt reality flex as the weapon charged, its power beyond anything their sensors could quantify. "All hands," she broadcast, her thoughts reaching every mind on the ship. "What we do here defines the future of our species. The Axari think they can control evolution, can decide which species are worthy of advancement. We're going to show them that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to adapt, to push beyond what should be possible." The legacy protocol hummed through their collective consciousness, pushing them further into unknown territory. As the Axari weapon prepared to fire, Sarah felt something new emerging from the quantum field, a possibility that even the protocol's creators hadn't anticipated. The human mind, it seemed, had one more surprise in store for their would-be overseers. Mind and machine. Reality bent and fractured around the Artemis as the Axari weapon discharged. But in the quantum-enhanced consciousness of the crew, the beam moved with glacial slowness, its path visible as ripples in the fabric of space-time. Sarah Chen no longer saw through human eyes alone. The legacy protocol had transformed her perception, showing her the universe as a web of probabilities and possibilities. Their weapon, Emily's thoughts resonated through their shared consciousness. It's not just erasing matter, it's deleting probability itself. They're trying to make our existence impossible. Through the protocol, Sarah understood. The Axari weapon was designed to eliminate not just its target, but every possible quantum state where that target could exist. It was the ultimate expression of their philosophy. Total control over which species were allowed to evolve, which futures were permitted to manifest. But something unexpected was happening. As the deletion beam approached, the merged consciousness of the Artemis crew began to resonate with the quantum field in ways that defied conventional physics. They weren't just observing quantum states anymore. They were influencing them, shaping reality through the power of human intuition and will. Impossible. Overseer Kellix's transmission carried genuine fear now. Your consciousness, it's propagating through the quantum field. This defies all known laws of evolution. Sarah felt her crew's minds pulse in unison, their thoughts moving through dimensions that human language couldn't describe. The Legacy Protocol had started as an interface between human consciousness and quantum technology, but it had become something more, a bridge between organic intelligence and the fundamental forces of the universe. The human mind evolved to create models of reality. She transmitted back, each word carrying layers of quantum meaning. We survived by imagining possibilities, by seeing patterns, by dreaming of what could be. Your species achieved technological perfection, Kellix, but you forgot how to dream. The deletion beam struck and passed through the Artemis like light through a prism. The ship existed in all possibilities at once, its crew's collective consciousness spreading their existence across multiple quantum states. They were everywhere and nowhere. Their humanity expanded beyond the boundaries of conventional spacetime. In the quantum processors beneath Mars, Dr. Marcus Wong watched in awe as his instruments tried to make sense of what the Artemis had become. "Diana," he whispered, "are you seeing this? The protocol, it's not just interfacing with their consciousness anymore. It's evolving with them." The Axeri fleet's perfect formation began to break as their sensors failed to lock onto the Artemis. The human ship moved through space like a quantum ghost, appearing in multiple locations simultaneously, each position equally real and impossible. But the transformation came with a cost. Blood now flowed freely from the eyes and ears of every crew member, their physical forms, struggling to contain consciousness, expanded beyond human limits. Sarah felt her own identity beginning to fragment, memories and thoughts splitting across quantum possibilities. "Commander," Lieutenant Park's thoughts carried desperate concern. "Our neural patterns are becoming quantum entangled with the ship's systems. If we don't disengage soon." "We can't disengage." Morrison's consciousness pulsed with tactical insights. "The moment we return to normal spacetime, their weapons will erase us from existence. We have to push forward." Sarah felt the truth of it in every quantum-enhanced nerve. The Legacy Protocol wasn't just a weapon or a tool. It was the next step in human evolution, forced upon them by the very beings who had tried to prevent their advancement. Through their shared consciousness, she could sense similar transformations beginning in other human ships across the galaxy, the protocol spreading like a quantum virus through humanity's neural networks. "You don't understand what you've done," Kellix transmitted, his perfect mechanical voice trembling. "Consciousness cannot exist in this state. You're becoming an anomaly, a threat to the natural order of spacetime itself." "No, Overseer," Sarah responded, her thoughts echoing through dimensions. "We're becoming what humanity was always meant to be. You tried to contain us, to control our evolution. Instead, you created the perfect conditions for our transcendence." The Artemis's weapons were no longer mere energy beams or quantum disruptions. They were extensions of human consciousness itself, carrying the weight of imagination and possibility. Where they struck, Axeri ships didn't just take damage. They encountered alternate realities, their perfectly ordered systems overwhelmed by the chaos of human creativity. Through the quantum field, Sarah sensed more human ships activating the protocol, more minds joining the expanding network of consciousness. The Axeri's attempt to prevent human advancement had instead catalyzed an evolutionary leap beyond anything they could have predicted. As New Eden's sun rose over the battlefield, illuminating the crystalline wrecks of Axeri ships, Sarah felt the boundaries of her consciousness expanding further. The Legacy Protocol was changing them all, transforming humanity into something that existed between flesh and energy, between reality and imagination. The final battle was approaching, but it would not be fought with weapons alone. It would be a clash between two fundamentally different ways of existing. The perfect, ordered evolution of the Axeri against the chaotic, creative potential of humanity unleashed. Tomorrow's dawn. The space around New Eden had become a quantum storm, reality itself wavering as human consciousness merged with the fundamental forces of the universe. The Artemis was no longer just a ship. It had become a focal point of possibility, a nexus where human imagination reshaped the laws of physics. Overseer Kelix's flagship hung at the heart of the Axeri formation, its crystalline structure pulsing with energy as it prepared for one final attack. Through the quantum field, Sarah Chen could sense the fear rippling through the alien fleet. Not fear of defeat. The Axeri had contingency plans for that, but fear of what humanity was becoming. "You've exceeded your boundaries," Kelix transmitted, his perfect mechanical voice distorted by quantum interference. "The Council of Overseers has deemed your species an existential threat. We cannot allow this aberration to spread." In the quantum-enhanced consciousness of the Artemis crew, Sarah saw the truth behind his words. The Axeri weren't just fighting to contain humanity. They were fighting to preserve their understanding of reality itself. Through the Legacy Protocol, humans had achieved something that terrified them: unpredictable, uncontrollable evolution. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Morrison's thoughts rippled through their shared awareness. More human ships are activating the protocol. The network it's growing exponentially. Sarah felt them all, dozens, then hundreds of human minds joining the quantum consciousness. Each brought their own dreams, fears, and possibilities, expanding the field of what could be. The Legacy Protocol wasn't just spreading, it was adapting, evolving with each new mind it touched. "Look at what you've become," Kelix transmitted, as his flagship's weapon core began to pulse with impossible energy. "Your consciousness is fragmenting across quantum states. You're losing your humanity." "No," Sarah responded, her thoughts carrying the weight of countless possibilities. "We're not losing our humanity. We're finally embracing it fully. Humans have always existed in multiple states, Kelix. We dream while awake. We imagine what could be while living in what is. Every human mind contains infinite possibilities. The protocol just lets us make them real." The Axeri flagship's weapon fired, but this time it wasn't targeting the Artemis or the other human ships. It was targeting space-time itself, trying to create a quantum singularity that would collapse all possibility into a single, controlled state. But they had underestimated the power of human consciousness unleashed. As the singularity began to form, Sarah felt the combined will of hundreds of protocol-enhanced minds push back against it. They weren't fighting with technology anymore, but with the fundamental human ability to imagine alternatives, to see paths where none should exist. "Emily," Sarah called through their shared consciousness, "do you remember what you said when we first encountered their quantum weapon? About how beautiful it was?" "Yes." Emily's thoughts carried understanding of what Sarah planned. Beauty isn't just in perfection, it's in possibility. Through the protocol, they reached out to the singularity, not trying to stop it but to transform it. Human consciousness flowed into the collapsing quantum states, filling them with dreams, hopes, fears, all the chaotic, beautiful potential that made humanity what it was. The singularity shuddered, then bloomed like a flower of light and possibility. Where there should have been destruction, there was creation. Where there should have been order, there was beautiful chaos. "What have you done?" Kelix's transmission carried genuine awe. "We've shown you what you forgot," Sarah answered. "Evolution isn't about reaching perfection. It's about adaptation, about finding new ways to exist. You tried to make the universe orderly and predictable. We're reminding it how to dream." The quantum storm around New Eden began to settle, but reality would never be quite the same. The Legacy Protocol had changed humanity fundamentally, creating a bridge between consciousness and quantum reality that could never be severed. Through their shared awareness, Sarah could sense similar transformations happening across human space, the next step in their species' evolution, catalyzed by the very beings who would try to prevent it. The Council must be informed, Kellogg transmitted. This changes everything we thought we knew about consciousness, about evolution itself. Then tell them this, Sarah responded, her thoughts echoing through dimensions. Humanity won't be contained. We won't be controlled. But we will share what we've learned. Because that's another thing that makes us human. We dream not just for ourselves, but for all who dream with us. As the Axari fleet retreated, Sarah looked out at New Eden through both human eyes and quantum perception. The colony below was safe, but it was more than that. They had proven that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in weapons or technology, but in their ability to imagine possibilities and make them real. The Legacy Protocol continued to pulse through human consciousness, a reminder that evolution wasn't just about survival of the fittest, but about finding new ways to exist, to dream, to become more than what you were. The Axari had tried to prevent humanity's advancement, but in doing so, they had helped create something unprecedented, a species that existed between reality and imagination, between matter and mind, between what was and what could be. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new possibilities, but humanity would face them as they always had, by dreaming of what could be, and then making those dreams real. First contact and ridicule. The massive crystalline spires of Centauri Prime Space Station sparkled like frozen fountains against the backdrop of swirling nebulae. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck, her reflection ghosting against the transparent alloy viewport. At 42, she wore her salt and pepper hair in a precise military cut that matched her crisp United Earth Defense Force uniform. Below, hundreds of alien ships moved in intricate patterns, some organic-looking, others geometric, all of them far more advanced than anything humanity publicly displayed. Commander, the Council is ready to begin the technology assessment. Lieutenant Rivera's voice came through her neural link. Sarah turned away from the view, her face betraying none of the anticipation she felt. After 15 years of preparation, everything would change today, though not in the way the Galactic Council expected. The Council chamber was a testament to advanced engineering, a vast amphitheater whose walls shifted and flowed like liquid metal. Representatives from over 300 spacefaring civilizations occupied their designated spaces, some floating in anti-gravity fields, others suspended in specialized environmental chambers. The air hummed with translator fields and bioadaptation matrices. High Counselor Zextal, a being of pure energy contained within an intricate lattice of rare metals, addressed the assembly. We gather today for the Centennial Technology Assessment. All member species must demonstrate their advancement to maintain their current status. The beam's voice resonated directly in Sarah's mind. Earth's representative may begin. Sarah stepped forward to the central platform. Around her, various alien delegates barely concealed their disdain. Earth had been the subject of ridicule since joining the Council 50 years ago. Their primitive fusion drives and basic neural interfaces were considered barely above prehistoric technology by galactic standards. The collective of superior species questions why we even waste time on this assessment. Came a harsh voice. Ambassador Korax of the Nexus Collective rose from his seat, his crystalline body refracting light in patterns of obvious contempt. Earth still uses biological computing cores. They haven't even mastered basic reality manipulation. Scattered laughter echoed through the chamber. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Perhaps, she said, her voice steady, the collective would be interested in a practical demonstration instead of a standard report. This caused a stir. Technology demonstrations were rare during assessments. Most species considered them too risky. And what could Earth possibly demonstrate? Korax's crystalline form flickered with amusement. The exciting advancement of chemical propulsion. Sarah tapped her neural link, sending a predetermined signal. Actually, we'd like to show you our new shielding technology. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. The massive display screens showing the space around Centauri Prime went blank, then restored, revealing a massive warship that had seemingly appeared from nowhere. Over 2 kilometers long, its hull was covered in patterns that seemed to bend light around them. The chamber erupted in chaos. Impossible. Corax's voice cracked with static. Our sensors would have detected any ship that size approaching. Would they? Sarah asked quietly. The UES Prometheus has been stationed 50 kilometers from this facility for the past 6 months. None of your sensors detected it. None of your quantum scanners saw it. None of your consciousness-level observers perceived it. The chamber fell silent. This is but one of many technologies Earth has developed. Sarah continued. We chose not to share them because we observed how the Council treats emerging civilizations. The mockery. The exploitation. The technology-sharing programs that create dependency. She gestured and holographic displays appeared around her, showing specifications that made several alien delegates gasp. Earth developed differently. While you focused on manipulating reality, we studied how to become invisible to those manipulations. While you built faster engines, we learned how to move without being seen. While you created weapons of unimaginable power, we developed defenses that make those weapons meaningless. The High Counselor's energy form pulsed with what might have been concern. Why reveal this now? Because the galaxy is changing, Sarah replied. The Nexus Collective's recent aggression against younger civilizations hasn't gone unnoticed. We believed it was time to demonstrate that being younger doesn't mean being helpless. Corax's crystalline form sharpened with anger. Is this a threat? No, Ambassador. This is an invitation to reassess your assumptions. Earth is establishing a new coalition, the Alliance of Emerging Civilizations. We will provide protection and support to younger species, helping them develop without exploitation or mockery. The collective will never accept this, Corax declared. You don't have to accept it, Sarah said calmly. You just have to understand it. She gestured again, and suddenly dozens more massive ships appeared around the station, their hulls bearing the same reality-bending patterns as the Prometheus. Earth remembers what it's like to be underestimated. We won't stand by while others face the same treatment we endured. The chamber erupted in heated discussions as Sarah stepped down from the platform. Lieutenant Rivera's voice came through her neural link. Phase 1 complete, Commander. The other ships report all systems nominal. Sarah allowed herself another small smile as she walked out of the chamber. The galaxy was about to change, and Earth would ensure it changed for the better. Sometimes the best way to teach humility was to demonstrate exactly why it was needed. Behind her, the council chamber descended into chaos as the implications became clear. Humanity had never been primitive. They had simply been patient, and that patience had just reshaped the balance of power throughout known space. The real work was just beginning. The hidden arsenal. Deep beneath the Mariana Trench, in a facility unknown to most of humanity, Dr. Maya Patel stood before a wall of quantum displays. The screens showed real-time feeds from Centauri Prime, where Commander Chen's revelation was still sending shockwaves through the Galactic Council. They're scanning the Prometheus with everything they've got, Maya's assistant, Dr. James Coda, reported. His hands danced over holographic controls, monitoring the alien attempts to understand Earth's flagship. Not that it'll do them any good. The quantum shell is functioning perfectly. Maya nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the shimmer of data streams. At 35, she was the youngest person ever to head Project Avalon, Earth's classified technology development program. How are they taking it? The Nexus Collective is throwing what amounts to a diplomatic tantrum, James replied with a slight grin. They've demanded emergency sessions, technical inspections, and formal investigations. The smaller species, though, he pulled up another feed. They're requesting private meetings with Earth's representatives. The facility, designated Deep Point 7, stretched for kilometers through the ocean floor. Its vast chambers house technologies that would make even the Galactic Council's most advanced members question their superiority. Maya walked through a series of security fields to the central research hub, where her greatest creation hummed with barely contained power. The quantum core filled a spherical chamber 100 meters across. Unlike the crystalline computing matrices used by most advanced species, it was a perfect fusion of organic and artificial intelligence. Strands of engineered bacteria, each containing millions of quantum-entangled particles, formed living neural networks more complex than anything in known space. Avalon, Maya addressed the core. Show me the current probability matrix. The air filled with intricate patterns of light, showing possible futures branching out from this moment. The reveal at Centauri Prime had shifted the galaxy's trajectory dramatically. The Nexus Collective shows a 78% probability of attempting military action within the next solar month. Avalon's voice was neither male nor female, but carried undertones of countless harmonics. However, their uncertainty about our capabilities creates a 92% deterrent factor. They're not used to being afraid, James observed. They're not used to not knowing, Maya corrected. The collective built their power on technological superiority. We just showed them that their understanding of what's possible is fundamentally flawed. Alerts flashed across the displays. The Prometheus was detecting increased activity around major collective military installations. Commander Chen's voice came through on a quantum-encrypted channel. Dr. Patel, they're mobilizing their fleet. Time to show them why that's a bad idea. Maya smiled. Avalon, initiate Protocol Omega. Authorize full spectrum reveal. The quantum core pulsed with new energy. Across the galaxy, on every world controlled by the Nexus Collective, their most secure military databases began displaying the simple message. Your systems have been compromised for the past decade. This is a courtesy notice. Scanning their response, James reported. Their entire command structure is in chaos. They're finding our quantum tags in systems they thought were impenetrable. Maya walked to another section of the facility, where rows of sleek objects floated in containment fields. Each was about the size of a small car, their surfaces covered in the same reality-bending patterns as the Prometheus. These are just the prototypes, she said, mostly to herself. The first generation of quantum probes we sent out. Everything since then has been invisible even to us, once deployed. The galaxy is already full of our technology. They just never knew it was there. A new alert sounded. The collective had just discovered that their most advanced weapons platforms wouldn't respond to commands. Decades of careful preparation were bearing fruit in a matter of hours. Dr. Patel, Commander Chen's voice came through again. The collective's Supreme Council is requesting an immediate conference. They seem more willing to discuss the future of galactic relations. Send them the specifications for the Mark I quantum drives, Maya instructed. The obsolete ones from 15 years ago. Let's see how they handle realizing they're even further behind than they thought. James pulled up new data streams. The younger species are already forming committees to join Earth's alliance. The power balance is shifting faster than even our models predicted. Maya turned to face the quantum displays again, watching as the galaxy realigned itself around the new reality. Earth hadn't just hidden its advancement. It had completely reimagined what technology could be. While other species built bigger engines and stronger weapons, humanity had woven itself into the fabric of space-time. Avalon, she commanded, begin Phase 2 of the Revelation Protocol. Show them what happens when you try to bully a species that had the patience to play the long game. The quantum core hummed with anticipation. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, humanity's hidden technology prepared to reshape the understanding of what was possible. The Nexus Collective was about to learn that their greatest mistake hadn't been underestimating Earth's technology. It had been giving humanity time to perfect it. In the depths of the ocean, surrounded by the future of human innovation, Maya Patel prepared to change the galaxy forever. Sometimes the best weapon wasn't the biggest ship or the strongest shield. It was the wisdom to wait until the perfect moment to act. That moment had finally arrived. Crisis at Nova Centauri. The serenity of Nova Centauri, a peaceful colony world on the galaxy's outer rim, shattered as the first Nexus collective warships emerged from hyperspace. Despite Earth's demonstration of power, or perhaps because of it, the collective had chosen to make a statement of their own. Admiral Viktor Roscov stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, watching the tactical displays with steel-gray eyes. At 60, he was a veteran of Earth's silent advancement, one of the few who had guided humanity's hidden rise to power. How many civilian ships in the evacuation zone? 3,412, his XO, Captain Diana Wells, reported. Her dark skin contrasted sharply with the blue glow of the quantum interfaces surrounding her station. The collective is deliberately targeting their escape vectors. The Nexus Collective had brought their entire third fleet, over 200 crystalline warships, each capable of devastating an unprotected world. They were making a show of force, demonstrating why they had been feared for millennia. They still think this is about strength, Victor mused. He opened a neural link to Deep Point 7. Dr. Patel, are we cleared for Phase 3? Maya's voice came through with perfect clarity, despite the vast distance. Avalon confirms all systems are in position. You have full authorization, Admiral. Victor allowed himself a small smile. Begin the operation. Across the Nova Centauri system, reality itself seemed to hiccup. The collective's warships suddenly found their quantum sensors blank, their advanced targeting systems useless. In the space around them, dots of light began to appear, first dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. Quantum probes deactivating stealth protocols, Captain Wells announced, revealing Earth Defense Grid Nova. The dots of light resolved into satellites, each barely larger than a shuttle, but radiating with power that made the collective's energy readings spike in alarm. For 10 years, Earth had been seeding every significant system in the galaxy with these devices, hiding them in plain sight. Send the message, Victor ordered. Through every communication channel, in every language used in known space, Earth's declaration was broadcast. The Nova Centauri system is under protection of the Earth Defense Force. You have 5 minutes to withdraw. The collective's response was predictable. Their flagship, a massive crystalline structure 15 kilometers long, oriented its main weapon toward the Prometheus. Energy began to build, powerful enough to crack a planet's crust. Victor didn't move. Time to show them what real advancement looks like. Activate the quantum field. The satellites pulsed in perfect synchronization. Space itself seemed to fold, creating patterns that hurt to look at. The collective's energy beam fired and vanished into what appeared to be nothing at all. Quantum redirection successful, Captain Wells reported calmly. Their attack just took out one of their own uninhabited bases in the Carina sector. The collective fleet froze. Their most powerful weapon had just been casually redirected across thousands of light years through what should have been impossible spatial manipulation. This is why we waited, Victor said, mostly to himself. Not to build bigger guns, but to change the rules of what's possible. He opened a channel to the collective flagship. Your weapons are useless here. Earth doesn't believe in overwhelming force. We believe in making force irrelevant. The quantum displays showed confusion spreading through the collective fleet. Their entire military doctrine was based on superior firepower. The concept of their weapons being simply redirected elsewhere was outside their understanding of physics. Sir, Captain Wells interrupted, we're detecting quantum surge readings from the collective ships. They're attempting to activate their mass drivers. Victor nodded. Let them. Show them what happens when you try to brute force your way through human innovation. The collective ships fired, launching projectiles at near light speed. The quantum field rippled again, and the projectiles emerged behind the collective fleet, their momentum perfectly preserved, but their direction reversed. Open a channel to all ships in the system, Victor commanded. His voice carried the weight of decades of preparation. This is Admiral Roscov of the Earth Defense Force. What you have witnessed is not a weapon, but a demonstration. Earth's technology doesn't destroy. It renders destruction impossible. You cannot fight an enemy who can rewrite the laws of physics in their favor. The civilian ships had stopped their panicked evacuation, watching in awe as humanity's true capabilities were revealed. The collective fleet hung motionless, their crystalline structures reflecting the light of Nova Centauri's sun. "Dr. Patel," Victor called through the neural link, "are we ready for the final demonstration?" "Avalon confirms all systems prepared," Maya replied. "The quantum network is fully operational. Show them what humanity has really been building." Victor's smile widened slightly. "Activate the Nexus Protocol." Across the galaxy, in every system where Earth had hidden its technology, reality began to change. The rules that governed space travel, weapons, and communication were being rewritten on a fundamental level. The age of brute force was over. Earth hadn't built a better weapon. They had changed the nature of warfare itself, and the galaxy would never be the same. Operation Thunderstrike. The Galactic Council's emergency session was interrupted by an impossible sight. The vast chamber, designed to accommodate representatives from hundreds of species, fell silent as the quantum displays showed the unthinkable. The Nexus Collective's Third Fleet, their most powerful military force, was being systematically dismantled without a single shot being fired. High Counselor Zextal's energy form pulsed with disbelief. "How is this possible?" Admiral Helena Ju, Earth's newly appointed military representative, stood calmly at the center of the chamber. Her dress uniform bore no weapons, no medals, no signs of military might. At 55, she carried herself with the quiet confidence of someone who knew the true meaning of power. "What you're witnessing," she explained, "is the fundamental difference between Earth's philosophy and the Collective's. They believe in domination through force. We believe in making force obsolete." The quantum displays showed another collective warship attempting to fire its main weapons. The energy beam simply ceased to exist midway through its trajectory, the laws of physics themselves seeming to shrug off the attack. "Impossible." The Collective's representative, a being of pure crystalline thought, vibrated with rage. "You cannot simply ignore the fundamental laws of reality." Helena smiled. "We didn't ignore them. We evolved them. While you were building bigger weapons, Earth was learning to speak the universe's native language." In Deep Point 7, Maya Patel and her team watched through quantum-linked feeds as their life's work transformed the galaxy. The quantum core pulsed with patterns that reflected the fundamental code of reality itself. "Avalon," Maya commanded, "initiate the final phase of Operation Thunderstrike." The artificial intelligence's response resonated through the facility. "Accessing quantum substrate. Initiating universal parameter adjustments." Across known space, reality rippled like a pond disturbed by a stone. Ships using traditional faster-than-light drives suddenly found themselves limited to sublight speeds. Weapon systems based on exotic particle manipulation simply ceased functioning. But vessels equipped with Earth's quantum technology continued operating normally. In the council chamber, Helena activated a holographic display, showing the true extent of Earth's preparation. For 50 years, we seeded the galaxy with quantum nodes, microscopic devices that could influence the fabric of space-time itself. Not to attack, not to destroy, but to create zones where violent conflict becomes literally impossible. The display showed thousands of points of light, each representing a quantum node. Together, they formed a vast network that encompassed nearly every inhabited system in known space. "This is not a weapon," Helena continued. "This is evolution. Earth spent decades being mocked as primitive, while we worked to ensure that the cycle of violence that has dominated galactic history would end." The Collective's representative's crystalline form sharpened aggressively. "You cannot enforce peace through technological superiority. This is no different from our methods." "On the contrary," Helena replied calmly, "we're not enforcing anything. We're offering a choice. Any species that wishes to continue developing weapons of mass destruction is free to do so, in systems without quantum nodes. But in protected space, such weapons simply cannot function. She gestured, and the display showed new data. Additionally, we're offering the quantum technology to any species that wishes to join the alliance of emerging civilizations, not as a weapon, but as a tool for growth and exploration. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Younger species representatives pressed forward, eager to learn more. Even some of the older civilizations showed interest, recognizing the paradigm shift that Earth had engineered. In orbit around Nova Centauri, the collective's third fleet hung powerless. Their mighty weapons were useless, their advanced drives inert. Admiral Roskov's voice came through the quantum network. The collective fleet is requesting permission to withdraw using conventional drives. Their commander wishes to discuss terms. Helena addressed the council again. Earth remembers being called primitive. We remember the mockery, the dismissal, the condescension. But we chose to respond not with revenge, but with innovation. Not with destruction, but with transformation. She activated one final display, showing the quantum network's full capabilities. This is humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not a weapon to enforce peace, but a tool to make war obsolete. The choice to use it belongs to everyone. The council chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. Earth hadn't just changed the balance of power. They had changed the nature of power itself. In a single operation, they had transformed the galaxy from a place where strength determined survival to one where cooperation became the only viable path forward. Maya's voice came through Helena's neural link. Avalon confirms the quantum network is stable. The transformation is complete. Helena looked out at the assembled representatives of galactic civilization and spoke the words that would be remembered for millennia. Welcome to the next stage of galactic evolution. Earth is ready to help guide the way forward, not as conquerors, not as superiors, but as partners in creating a future where violence is no longer the answer. The age of warfare was ending. The age of transformation had begun. A new balance of power. 1 year after Operation Thunderstrike, the landscape of galactic civilization had transformed beyond recognition. The Great Hall of New Terra, Earth's first extrasolar diplomatic center, hosted representatives from over 500 species. Unlike the old Galactic Council chamber, this space was designed for equality, a perfect sphere where no position held prominence over others. Dr. Maya Patel stood with Admiral Helena Ju and Commander Sarah Chen, watching as the latest group of species joined the Alliance of Emerging Civilizations. The quantum network now covered nearly 80% of known space, and more systems joined daily. The collective's last holdout system surrendered this morning. Sarah reported, her military uniform now bearing the new insignia of the Combined Defense Force, a joint organization representing all Alliance members. They've agreed to full integration with the quantum network. Helena nodded, her silver hair catching the light from the quantum displays. Not with a bang, but with understanding. That's how real change happens. The center of the hall held a miniature version of Avalon's quantum core, a gift from Earth to the Alliance. Unlike the original, this one was designed for collaborative development, allowing all member species to contribute to its evolution. Director Patel, a young Axiani scientist, approached, his bioluminescent tentacles pulsing with excitement. The combined research team has made a breakthrough in quantum communication. Using your base principles, we found a way to extend the network's range by 300%. Maya smiled. This was exactly what Earth had hoped for, not domination, but collaboration. Excellent work, Dr. Cattell. Please share your findings with Avalon for integration into the network. Above them, the vast dome of New Terra showed real-time visualizations of quantum traffic throughout Alliance space. Ships of all species moved freely, their quantum drives leaving trails of altered space-time that looked like aurora borealis among the stars. The latest survey results are in, Sarah said, pulling up a holographic report. Piracy and interstellar conflict are down 99.8% in protected space. Economic cooperation between member species has increased by 400%, and the number of joint scientific ventures has exploded. And the Nexus Collective? Helena asked, though she already knew the answer. Transformed, Maya replied. Once they understood that their old methods of power were obsolete, they turned their considerable resources toward research and development. Their crystalline computing matrices, combined with our quantum technology, have opened up entirely new fields of study. The hall buzzed with activity as representatives from formerly hostile species worked together, sharing knowledge and resources. The quantum network had made traditional weapons useless, but it had also connected civilizations in ways previously thought impossible. There's a delegation from the deep core worlds arriving next week, Sarah noted. They were some of our harshest critics in the old council. Now they want to discuss combining their psychic technology with our quantum systems. Maya walked to the central platform, where the collaborative quantum core hummed with the combined knowledge of hundreds of civilizations. Avalon, show us the probability matrix for the next century. The air filled with shimmering patterns, showing countless possible futures branching out before them. Unlike the predictions from a year ago, these futures were predominantly bright, marked by cooperation and advancement rather than conflict and destruction. We took a risk, Helena mused, studying the patterns. Revealing our technology, changing the fundamental rules of space travel and warfare. It could have backfired spectacularly. The risk was necessary, Maya replied. We had to show them a better way. Not through force, not through fear, but through the simple demonstration that cooperation is more powerful than conflict. An alert chimed softly, announcing the discovery of a new spacefaring species on the galaxy's outer rim. Under the old system, they would have faced exploitation or mockery. Now, they would be welcomed, protected, and guided. This was always the real victory, Sarah said, watching as Alliance members already began preparing welcome packages and technological assistance for the new civilization. Not defeating the collective, not proving our superiority, but creating a galaxy where advancement doesn't have to come through suffering. The quantum displays showed another breakthrough, this time from a joint team of human, collective, and Axiani scientists. They had found a way to use the quantum network for environmental restoration, healing damage caused by centuries of warfare and industrial development. Maya touched the collaborative quantum core, feeling the combined knowledge and creativity of hundreds of species flowing through it. Earth was mocked for being primitive, for taking too long to advance, but we used that time to learn what real advancement means. Not the power to destroy, but the power to transform. Not the ability to dominate, but the wisdom to cooperate. Above them, the stars shimmered with quantum energy, a constant reminder of how far they had come and how far they could still go. The galaxy had learned that true power didn't come from weapons or territory or technological superiority. It came from the ability to imagine a better future and the patience to build it, one quantum link at a time. The age of mockery was over. The age of transformation would continue. And humanity, once dismissed as primitive, would help guide the way forward, not as conquerors or superiors, but as partners in the greatest adventure in galactic history. The evolution of civilization itself had just begun.